It's not a joke anymore. I can't believe this actually happened. Primogen and I are both cited multiple times in this guy. And on top of that, there's a lot of things that came out in this document that were not public before. I admittedly knew a little bit of it, but was respecting Matt's right to privacy and his desire to not have these details shared. But they're in here now, which means I'm going to share these details. It's 2 a.m. I should be asleep. I was literally about to go to bed, but as I started reading through this document, I realized that y'all need to hear about it. So, shall we dive in? This document was posted by WP Engine on their official Twitter account with the following statement. Matt Mullenweg and Automatic's self-proclaimed scorched earth campaign against WP Engine has harmed not just our community, but the entire WordPress ecosystem. The symbiotic relationship between WordPress, its community, and the business that invests millions of dollars to support WordPress users and advance the ecosystem is based on trust in the promises of openness and freedom. Matt Mullenweg's conduct over the last 10 days has exposed significant conflicts of interest and governance issues that, if left unchecked, threaten to destroy that trust. WP Engine has no choice but to pursue these claims to protect its people, agency partners, customers, and the broader WordPress community. Like so many of you, we love WordPress and are committed to the stability and longevity of the community. Read the full complaint here. Before we go into the complaint directly, I do want to bring up, Matt posted the term sheet that he had shown me during the stream. Has all of the details I mentioned before. It specifically calls out the 8% fee, which, as I mentioned there, is a pretty absurd thing to have randomly dropped on you. I've never heard of anything like that before, for 8% of your revenue going towards another company for a trademark after a decade of them being fine with it. This is entirely unheard of. And the part that he claimed was proof that he had alerted them that they would lose access to WordPress.org is this paragraph about community. WP Engine will be able to participate in WordCamps and WordPress community events. If you choose the royalty fee, we will attribute a portion of Automatic's 5 for the future contributions to WP Engine in a public way so the community understands your commitment to the long-term flourishing of WordPress. Nothing here clarifies the thing he was trying to claim, which is that they would lose access to WordPress.org and all of the update servers and everything else for all WP Engine customers. I do not feel like that was communicated, and I don't think Matt did a good job of proving to me that that intent was communicated ahead of time, which means it was suddenly sprung on them. In the Theo interview with him, was trying to emphasize the point that he could have brought these things up in a much more granular way over time and not had the insane outrage that occurred. And yeah, that acceleration seems to be emphasized meaningfully in this complaint, as well as some really absurd details about the CEO of WP Engine that we'll get to in just a moment. So let's dive in. This is a case about abuse of power, extortion, and greed. The misconduct at issue here is all the more shocking because it occurred in an unexpected place. The WordPress open source software community built on promises of the freedom to build, run, change, and redistribute without barriers or constraints for all. I don't want to go too deep in these first points because y'all already know almost all of this info. There are a couple cool quotes they found from back in the day about why Automatic transferred the WordPress trademark to the foundation. And they call out some fun things here that just are not true at all. The most central piece of WordPress's identity, its name, is now fully independent from any company, which is particularly funny due to the nature of the exclusivity of the commercial license that we discussed at the beginning of our interview. There is something that holds the WordPress code and trademark for the free access for the world. Free access for the world. I guess WP Engine isn't part of the world. Defendants, in fact, had quietly transferred irrevocable, exclusive royalty-free rights in the WordPress trademark rights back to Automatic that very same day in 2010. Defendants' plan, which came without warning, gave WPE less than 48 hours to either agree to pay them off or face the consequences of being banned and publicly smeared. In that short time, defendants sent ominous messages and photos designed to intimidate WPE into making an extortionate payment. While WPE did not capitulate, defendant carried out threats, unleashing a self-described nuclear war against WPE. We all know all of this. Where things start to get interesting is when we go down to the bits about the CEO. Here's one of the first citations of one of our videos. This is a quote where he clearly says that they're using the trademark law to encourage them to give back. That citation is Prime's video. Here's the first citation of my stream. On September 28th, during a live-streamed interview on YouTube, which took place in San Francisco, Mullenweg publicly took credit for carrying out these retaliatory actions against WPE and its customers, and gave various spurious reasons for his actions. Mullenweg publicly stated that he gave WPE advanced warning that he was going to terminate their access to WordPress.org. That is false. He gave no notice at all. WPE discovered defendants' misconduct when its engineers attempted to log into their admin panel for WordPress.org on the morning of September 24th, as usual, only to discover their accounts had been disabled. In the same interview, Mullenweg was defiant and unremorseful for his wrongful acts and even asked WPE to, quote, please sue me. In other posts on social media platform X, Mullenweg seems to have justified his blocking of WPE from WordPress.org in parts because of Stripe issues with WPE. Also, apparently, the whole Stripe connection thing, WPE has actually built their own payment processing for the Stripe connection that wasn't available in the WooCommerce plugin. That's why they have their license key and their affiliate key there instead. So I don't know how true that is. I'm not deep enough to know for sure. Apparently, the commissions that they've received from Stripe related to the WooCommerce plugin is less than $2,000 per month. So not a whole lot of money. And you can't just lie about that. So yeah, that being a thing that Matt pushed feels a lot less genuine now. Here is me being cited again. Mullenweg gave an interview to the author of the This Might Be the End of WordPress video blog. Among other statements, Mullenweg acknowledged his retaliatory and vindictive intentions, saying they can make this all go away by doing a license. Interesting question is whether now, maybe more than 8% is what we would agree to now, which is kind of absurd. People have been quoting that part a lot on Twitter because of how absurd it is. Trying to find, okay, here we are. Section E. Undeterred, defendant expands their extortive efforts to threaten WPE's CEO. Defendant's extortion campaign includes levying personal attacks against the CEO of WPE for not capitulating to his demands. For instance, on September 26th, Mullenweg gave an interview on the X platform during which he gave the CEO's personal cell phone number to the interviewer and encouraged him to contact her. She was in fact contacted by the interviewer. That's the defendants' attacks against WPE's CEO have also continued in private. First, on September 28, 2024, Mullenweg attempted to poach her to come and work for Automattic and falsely suggested that WPE's investor was making her do something that she did not want to do. Heather is the CEO of WPE, for context. Heather, I'm so sorry for what Silver's making you do. If you want to use this as an opportunity to jump ship, my previous offer of matching all their economics still stands. He has been trying to poach her for a bit. And the really sketchy thing is that he threatens to reveal the fact that she was exploring that option to the board as part of his leverage against her, it's insane. You'll see as we go through it. After WPE's CEO did not immediately respond, Mullenweg threatened her the following day. Specifically, on September 29th, he gave her until midnight that day to accept his job offer with Automattic. If she did not accede to his demand, Mullenweg threatened to tell the press, as well as WPE's investor, that she had interviewed with Automattic. Here's the proof. Heather, after our extensive discussion about you joining Automattic, the offer you negotiated with me is still on the table. You can join Automattic and match all of your compensation economics as we discussed in January, and I will extend that matching to anyone from WPE who wants to follow you. You said you wanted to do this right by your team. This addresses it. Let me know by midnight PT if you decline or accept this offer. If you decline, on Monday morning, I tell Greg Mondres, point 1, Lee's refusal to negotiate terms to resolve our conflict. Point 2, your interview with Automattic over the past year. And 3, I'll possibly tell the press whole of the above. That's borderline extortion. I can't believe he actually texted that. It's Matt. Apparently, also, she had never actually interviewed with or negotiated a job offer with Automattic. This was not something that was being fairly communicated. To the contrary, apparently, this goes all the way back to 2022. Automatic had asked if she would be interested in running WordPress.com, and she politely declined. And she did not respond to that threat. So I was almost done editing, and I found another really critical detail that we have to talk about super quick. Apparently, Matt made an offer to existing Automatic employees that he would buy them out if they don't feel aligned with Matt's vision. The deal is 6 months of severance or $30K if the 6-month sum is higher than that. According to anonymous sources, 37 people at Automatic have accepted the offer. One of those 37 people was an employee named Josefa. Why does she matter? Well, I'll let Matt explain it. She was the executive director of WordPress.org, which apparently is the position that he is claiming Heather, the CEO of WP Engine, wanted. Also of note, isn't WordPress.org the thing that he owns that is separate from Automatic? The lines are blurry, but the fact that he has an executive director of WordPress.org for Automatic says a lot. And the fact that she is now resigned after being told to block WP Engine and do all this other crazy shit isn't that surprising. And a lot of people from the WP community absolutely love Josefa. So that is absolutely a huge blow. Yeah. It seems like the changes have actually started. The concerns that we had about WordPress and Automatic weren't just us blowing things out of proportion. 37 people quitting is no joke. Section F. Mullenweg represents that Automatic might seek to acquire WPE for a discount. In a recent interview, Mullenweg stated that his demand for WPEs to pay him 8% of its revenue to license the trademark that Automatic purports to control is, quote, not on the table anymore. He's seeking more. He boasted that he might take over WPE. He promised in the interview his public attacks would continue. A social media post on the platform X, he posted that as a result of his actions, WPE is now a, quote, distressed asset worth just a, quote, fraction of what it was before. Because, quote, customers are leaving in droves, calling into question whether defendants' motives extend beyond mere interference and extortion and are in fact a thinly disguised attempt to artificially drive down WPE's valuation in hopes of acquiring it on the cheap. This is a total insane mess. I'm still filming a video about it with my voice entirely gone at past 2 a.m. because I think it's important to talk about. And I'm disappointed. I feel like I did my best in that interview, but the level of insanity here is just hard to put into words. And like, I know you're watching this, Matt. I know I'm going to wake up to a barrage of texts, and I'm sorry, but you fucked up here, man. Like, this is really bad, and this is going to have consequences. And I don't know how you dig your way out of this one. So, yeah. Good night, nerds. Fuck me, I have to edit this now, too. Why do I...